What's up, everybody on YouTube? I hope that y'all are doing well. So today we are going to be going over my Nintendo 64 collection. Now before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit that white subscribe button that you'll see down below. Just before you get to the comment section, you'll see it on the right side. Be sure to hit that so we can get up to 300 subscribers. It helps me out greatly. Thank you very much, and thank you all for watching. I also need to say that I'm also getting a copy of Resident Evil 2 for N64 because I want to play the original game. So I did buy a copy of that for $52 off of eBay. It was $42, but there was like $8.50 shipping or $8 shipping. Excuse me, and then the tax and stuff. So it was $52. I have that coming in, and I have Shadow Man coming in the mail very soon, and also Hybrid Heaven. That's coming in the mail very soon. But I haven't gotten those three yet, so I'm still waiting on that. So I just figured I'd show or tell you guys about it because I don't have them yet in my collection. I did categorize these games that are below me here. We're going to start with the sports games, and then we're going to get to the racing games, and then we'll get into the more interesting titles. Alright, and I'll try to be as brief as I can on these titles, just to save a little bit of time. But I want to make it as interesting as possible, too. Alright, so let's get the sports games out of the way. First off, we have, and there is a poster on my wall over here somewhere. Let me show you if you can see it. Oh, no, not that way. See that poster in the corner there? That's the NBA Jam poster that I got. Oh yeah, hold on a second. I gotta get those manuals too. I want to show those for the video here. I'm going to show the manuals at the end of this video. So anyways, let's go ahead. I got NBA Jam 99. Normally, I don't like to pick up sports games, but it's kind of hard to avoid it when you buy lots from eBay because they usually are selling it with a bunch of games, and there's usually 2 or 3 sports games in there. I bought this one separately. I'm not a big fan of sports games, but like I said, there are a few that are actually worthwhile, and this is one of them, I feel, because I like the NBA Jam games on Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. So I figured I'd pick it up. It was $10. It came with that poster and the manual as well, so I figured, what the hell, I'll buy it. For $10, it's not a bad deal. It's a decent 3D version of NBA Jam. It's basketball, but it's still fun. And I know there's also NBA Jam 2000 on the Nintendo 64. I don't know if I'm going to get that unless I can get it for cheap. You know, if I can get it for cheap, then okay, whatever. But normally I'm not going to pay like $20 for a sports game. It's just not going to happen. Or $15, $10 at the very most. But it has to be something I really, really want. Anyways, the next sports game I have is another basketball game. We have NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. Very good basketball game. I played this as a kid. This was probably the first N64 game I played besides Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I'm glad to have both of those games back in my collection. He's on fire from downtown. They used similar references to NBA Jam in this game, but it was different in some aspects, but not fully. It's 2-on-2 basketball. You can get your basketball on fire. I used to play as the Lakers all the time when I would go against my friends or play by myself and have Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant because they were like the best guys that you could choose for the 2 members of the Lakers at the time because this game came out in I think 2000. So yeah, that's what they were both signed to at the time. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, by the way. But this was a good game, a good basketball game. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And it's also because of the nostalgia that I have that again in my collection. I think I got that for $10. You know, a lot of these N64 games are not cheap. There's a lot of collectors out there wanting this stuff for N64, so you're lucky if you find the game for $2 or $3. You're just not gonna find it unless you go garage sailing. But even then, good luck, because you know it's March. I mean, there's nobody doing garage sales right now, unless you go to like an indoor antique shop or something. I don't know. Anyways, WWF Attitude, WCW versus NWO Revenge. This is actually a really good wrestling game. Definitely worth checking out. One of the better wrestling games that was ever made. There's a kick-ass roster, about probably 30 or 40 different wrestlers that you get to choose as or play as, and it's just a really good wrestling game. The only I'm missing a few wrestling games in here. I don't have No Mercy. I know that they're all relatively cheap, except for No Mercy. I guess it's because it's the best one on the N64. All the other ones you can get for $10, $15. They're not very expensive. WWF Warzone. When I bought WCW versus NWO Revenge, it actually came with this one as well, which was nice. So I got both of them for one price. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. This is one of the games I picked up again when I bought my N64 from this Mr. Deals a few years ago. And I bought this and Wipeout and 2 or 3 other games. And this was one of the ones I wanted to get back in my collection. I paid $30 for it, but it's worth it, I feel, because it's a damn good sports game. You do all sorts of stuff. You do tricks and combos. Try to get a pro score and a 6 score and a high score. You gotta find the secret tape. There's competitions in the game where you had to score high and you lost points if you fell. So I had to be careful how many times you fell. And you wanted to get 3rd or better to be able to move on, you know. And you got like, I think 9 people you had to play as, or 10 people. Elisa Steamer being the only girl, but Rune Glifberg, Eric Costin, Bucky Lastic, Bob Burnquist, Tony Hawk, and I think Jeff Raleigh are in this game. It's a good game. Oh yeah, and also Rodney Mullen is also in this game too. It's a really good game. You can also create your own skate park in this game, which was nice too, because then you can create your own skate park and then skate around in it. That was pretty cool. And you can also upgrade your board, your stamina, and your stats. That way you get more air, ollie, and hang time. And rail grip being stronger as you buy stats. It's a good game. I really enjoy the Tony Hawk games. It's a shame that the last 4 games really sucked, and then he just did a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remaster on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And to me, it's not really worth buying because I own the original, so I didn't bother to pick it up. We have WCW Backstage Assault and a blue cartridge too. There were a few blue carts, yellow, green, and black cartridges of the Nintendo 64. And then I have Twisted Edge Snowboarding. And somewhere in here, oh here it is. I got 1080 Snowboarding. And when I got this game for free. There was a seller off of eBay. I bought Battle Tanks off of him. And he sent me this game for free as an appreciation to say thank you for buying from me. Or something like that. Sometimes these sellers do that, which is very nice. Maybe I bought from him in the past, and then this is just his way of saying thank you. But I appreciate it of him giving me another game. I was hoping it'd be something not sports related, but it is a sports game technically because it's a snowboarding game. But it's a decent snowboarding game at that. You know, but it definitely cannot touch SSX games. They are the better snowboarding games, or the cold water games, I feel. Alright, so, oh yeah, we got one more sports game. Actually, no, there's 2 in here. I got Mario Golf somewhere. That might be in my system right now. Let me get that out of there. this out the way. We showed those already. So I have Mario Golf and Mario Tennis here. My friend John, the one that sells me the comic books, he also sells movies too. Gave me this game because he found it in a pile of stuff in his garage, like comic books and VHS tapes, DVDs, excuse me, and some other shit, you know. So it was like, you know what, I'm going to give this to him because I know he's a big fan of video games, and he did. And he said, hey man, I found this in my stash, my garage, and I was wondering if you wanted it. I was like, what is it? And he said, Mario Golf. I was like, yes, thank you so much. He had me really excited because I never played Mario Golf. I know there was a sequel. There was one on GameCube, and I think there's one on the Wii. That might be on the Wii. I'm not really sure. But I know that they had 3 or 4 Mario Golf games. And I know there's also one on the Switch as well, because I've seen copies of it on eBay. But this is the first one. And it's great to have this because this is a damn good sports game. This is one of the best in my opinion. And then, of course, I purchased Mario Tennis. Seller wanted $28.99 for it. I offered the seller $20. The seller took it in a heartbeat. And there was about $7 shipping or $8 shipping. So I ended up being $28 total, you know. But I still got a deal on it because if I had paid the full price and then with the shipping, it would have been almost $40. So I did technically still save some money on it. And it's a good game. It's a good sports game. Good tennis game. I like it. You get to play as Mario characters. You get to play as, I think, Birdo, Luigi, Wario, Donkey Kong, Bowser, Mario, Princess Peach, and Toad is also in the game. It was before Toadette and Rosalina came to the party. You know. Alright, now on to the racing games. And we've got a bunch here. And I have a couple of duplicates of them. Just throwing that out there. We got Extreme G. Pretty good futuristic racing game. Not bad. But definitely has so much speed going in it that I get a little dizzy sometimes playing this game. You know, I have to be in the mood to play this because it is pretty fast. Going around the track and going around these giant loops like that and over shit, you know, and under shit, you know, it's crazy. But it is a decent game, a decent racing game. I do enjoy that. I got that for cheap. That was about $12, I think, or $15, something like that. NASCAR 99. Wipeout 64. This is a good game. I like this. Really good Wipeout game. A lot easier to play than the PS2 one. I kept crashing into the walls playing that game, Wipeout Fusion. But this one is pretty good. I like it. Definitely a fun racing game for the Wipeout franchise. Ridge Racer 64. Very good game. Definitely worth playing on the N64. Here's the sequel, Extreme G2, also good. The same concept as the first one. It's still a futuristic racing game, but different tracks and different levels, and the graphics are slightly better than the first one. But definitely one that you can't play for hours at a time because it is just super fast. I don't know how anybody would play these two games and not get dizzy playing it because it is super duper fast. I mean, it's like a motorcycle racing game on crack. Like, that's how speedy that game is. Alright, next up we have MRC. I wasn't a big fan of it because I don't like the easy left, hard right, hard left. I just wasn't, that annoys the piss out of me when hearing that in racing games. But there was some replay value because there are branching paths in the game, you know, that you can take to get in first place. against the racers. So that was a nice touch. That added to some replay value to play through each level more than once, to get first place or second place. You know what I mean? So that was a nice touch. I'll give a credit where credit is due. If I didn't say the title, that's MRC. We still got more racing games to go through. World Driver Championship. Have not played that yet. NASCAR 2000. Some of these I gotten a lot. I bought a lot recently off of eBay and got 14 games from a seller. The seller was selling them 7 at a piece. I was like, hey man, if you were to combine the lot together, I'll buy them all for one price if you're willing to do that. And the guy did that for me. He created a whole new listing. He wanted $135 plus $20 shipping. I sent him an offer for, I think, $120, and he took it. So, got a good deal on it. But with the shipping, it ended up being, with that and the tax, it ended up being $150. So, but, I guess it's a decent deal. Supercross 2000. Revolt. This was basically a racing game with remote control cars. It's not bad, but it's not a great game either. It's lacking some heart to it. I did play the multiplayer with Joseph like a year ago, and we didn't really enjoy that very much. We thought the 2-player racing mode in this was kind of sucky. It could have been a lot better. But I guess it's alright. It's an okay racing game. It's different, it's got that perspective where you're using a remote control car and you're racing it around the track. So it's definitely unique. Wipeout 64, this is a duplicate. I have 2 copies. This is the one I bought from Mr. Deals like 2 years ago. I have another copy in here because the seller that sold me the 14 games sold me a copy of that in there and NASCAR 99 in there. So I have 2 duplicates in there. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, one of the first games I played on the n64 back in the early 2000s. And it's a good racing game. I definitely had some fun playing as Anakin and some of the alien characters in this game. They say some weird stuff though, some stuff that you'd only know if you play Star Wars or watch any of the Star Wars movies. Stoka Toka Peak Soya. That's what they say. Yeah, it was a good racing game. I enjoyed it. NASCAR 99. It's a double. California Speed, lacking some heart, but it wasn't a terrible game, but it did seem like it kind of ripped off Cruis'n USA and Cruis'n Worlds and the other one, Cruis'n Exotica. I'd say Cruis'n USA, it's like a Cruis'n USA ripoff because the levels looked exactly the same as Cruis'n USA, very similar in the style approach. It could have been a little bit more diverse in my opinion. Off-Road Challenge. Still have yet to play that. Haven't played that one yet. This is one I got from Matthew a long time ago. Here's Cruis'n USA. I got Cruis'n USA. It's a very good game. I remember playing this back in the day at the arcades. There was a bowling alley down the street. Literally, I used to walk down that street and go to the bowling alley with my allowance and play a game or 2 of bowling. Back then, bowling was only like $3.50 a game. Now bowling is like $7, $8 for one game. Bowling alley's no longer there, but when they were there, they were pretty good. They're pretty cool. And I remember they had an arcade there, and they had a couple of arcade games in there. This was one of the games they had. So I used to pop 50 cents in and play Cruis'n USA when I was there, and I had a blast playing it. It's a simple arcade racing game, and it was a lot of fun. It was even kind of humorous a little bit, running over deer in the game. Yeah, it's a good game. I recommend it. It's very fun. It's very cheap. It's only about $10 to $15 on the n64. Not a bad deal. It's very good. And then I have Top Gear Overdrive, which I got from Mr. Deals for $15. I bought it because I saw this YouTuber. He's called Adam Agro. He's from a YouTube channel called Red South City. He actually reviewed this game, and I actually did watch his review on that. There's a hot dog car in this game that's unlockable, I think, and you get to play as a taco as well, which was pretty cool for the time. And I think there was also an n64 cart, an actual 3D N that you could use and play it in this game. So that was a nice touch for this game. The music sucks though because well, I guess the music's better than like Destruction Derby, but they made 7 songs and put it into the game, but they're all from the same artist. That's lame. They should have had some Metallica, Offspring, POD. They probably could have put some, Sublime in there and some Rage Against the Machine, made it a better soundtrack. Besides having one artist in there and having 7 songs. I mean, Tony Hawk didn't even do that, so that was pretty lame, I'd say. As for the car driving and everything around in the game, it kind of sucks. It definitely does not feel great when you're controlling the car. There were many times where I was doing my very best to control the car and I kept crashing into something. Whether it would be the walls or a rock or something that got in the way, or a car that I was trying to pass. It just seemed like the controls were terrible in this game. But I didn't think the game was absolute, shit, but it could have been better. If the controls had been better, this would have been a better game overall. Alright, now we get into the other stuff, the more interesting games. I'm going to move these to the side here. So let's go ahead and show these off. We got Army Men Sarge's Heroes. Good third-person shooter game. I did enjoy this. I thought it was a pretty good game overall, where you play as one of the green army men that was from the Toy Story movies, or just the little army men toys that you would buy when you were a kid. It was a pretty good third-person shooter. Definitely a good one. It's also available on Sega Dreamcast and the PlayStation 1, but I definitely recommend it for whatever system you get because it's a blast. Next up, we have Turok Dinosaur Hunter. It's a good first-person shooter game, but the problem is the draw distance in the game is really bad. I mean, that draw distance is terrible. But, I mean, if you can get a copy for $19.99 or less, for $20 or less, it's definitely not a bad pickup. For some reason, this one is around that price, I believe. Actually, no, you might be able to get it for $12. So it's around the $10 to $20 range. But it's not a bad game if you're looking for a first-person shooter game and you already have GoldenEye and you already have Perfect Dark. This is a better one to get because there's a few first-person shooter games on the Nintendo 64 that really weren't that great, like Armorines. That's not a very good game. So, and this is also based off a comic book, if you didn't know. I didn't know that back in the day. I thought it was just a video game, but it is based off a comic book. And Turok's pretty cool. He's a Native American warrior. He's got bow and arrows and fires off rifles and shotguns and pistols and stuff. He's pretty cool. He also gets a tomahawk that he can throw, which is really cool. Mission Impossible. That game is a fucking disgrace. Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers. Not a bad Scooby-Doo game. Although the only thing you can really do when you come across like ghosts and stuff is you can run. That's it. You can't fight them. You can't punch them or kick them. It'd been nice to at least punch them or something, or be able to do something. The only thing you could do is probably set up a trap to catch the bad guys. There were only, I think, 5 levels in the game, but they were long and they were drawn out, so they were actually decent enough for this game. You get Scooby-Doo, you get Shaggy, you get Velma, Fred, and Daphne. The only characters that you get to play as is Shaggy. You play as Shaggy, but you have Scooby-Doo who kind of helps you along. He follows you around in the game. Velma, Fred, and Daphne, they all split up and they all go looking for clues and stuff in the game. However, I did notice that Fred was a lazy piece of shit. He didn't even bother to help us with anything, really. He just stood there and did nothing. When we were being chased by an abominable snowman figure, Velma and Daphne helped, but Fred just stood there with his hands in his pockets like, "Hey, what's up? Oh, there's an abominable snowman over there chasing you? Oh, well, that sucks to be you. Who cares? I don't care about you. You know, I never understood that. So Fred honestly should get kicked off the team in this game because he did nothing, absolutely nothing to help you in this game. I'm not kidding. Look it up. You'll see for yourself. But Velma and Daphne, they did help out a bit in this game. So that was nice. Um, yeah, so I did enjoy this game. Never beat it. Got far, but never beat it. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, very tough tactical shooter, I will say. Very tough. Did not get very far. Very hard game. The game's also available on PlayStation and Sega Dreamcast as well. James Bond GoldenEye. This is one of the best licensed games ever made. In fact, it is the best licensed game ever made. Great game. This is definitely you want to get, one you want to get rather on the Nintendo 64 because it is a great game all around. The campaign in this game is solid. The music is solid. Even though it's not like Metallica, Offspring, or any rock music, the music in the game is still memorable to this very day. It outsold the movie with its gameplay. It had a great multiplayer in the game. We're up to 4 friends in the game. There weren't many games that were doing that, except for this and I think Quake 2 and Perfect Dark. But it's a great game. You know, there are so many things you could do. The campaign was lengthy, and I honestly had to use the Game Shark for the very last level, because that bridge level, I could never beat that level. But I'm glad I did, because I eventually did beat this game with that. It's a great game. I definitely recommend it, and there are still people playing this game to this very day because of how good this was for a licensed game, and a game in general. Turok 2, The Seas of Evil, it was an improvement over the first game, but the only thing that sucks going back to it now is up goes down and down goes up. And we all know how that really should be. Up should go up and down should go down. That took a bit of getting used to going back to it recently, but I gotta say, from what I have played, I enjoyed what I played of this game. Just that inverted shit just drove me crazy. That was the only thing I didn't like. But I guess for its time, that was okay. And no, I don't have Turok 3 Shadows of Oblivion, unfortunately. That's the most expensive one out of the 4. But I do have Turok Rage Wars. This one focused more on that multiplayer aspect in the game. It didn't seem like there was a campaign in this game. I looked to see if there was a campaign. I don't think there was. It was just basically you going around through the levels, and there were other enemies that would come and pop out at you. And occasionally I got scared. I jumped like, whoa. No, so I had some light horror elements to this game of them popping up out of nowhere and start shooting at you. But it wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't as good as the main 3 Turok games on the N64. Then I have Perfect Dark. I played the multiplayer in this game and really enjoyed the multiplayer with friends. But I haven't played the campaign because it requires the expansion pack. I've seen the expansion pack on eBay and on DK Oldies. I might want to pick that up because I have never played the campaign of this game. Jet Force Gemini, this is a pretty good third-person shooter. It's not a first-person shooter. You get to see your character in the game. You go through the levels and you shoot bugs and things like that. You go from point A to point B. And there's some mission objectives in the game as well. It was an interesting game made by Rare, and it was actually a pretty good game besides Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is the best Rare game that they ever made. And Perfect Dark, I think, is also made by Rare. Yes, it is. It's made by Rare. You can see that by my thumb. So, yeah, they made a lot of good ones. Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are some other ones. I have Banjo-Kazooie in here. You'll see it later on. 007 The World Is Not Enough. Good game, good licensed game, but not as good as GoldenEye. But overall, it's still a pretty good game. The campaign is lengthy enough and enjoyable enough. but I never beat the campaign in this game. I got, I think, to the third level, and I cannot get past it. But the main fun part, the most fun part, is the multiplayer, where it's you and a friend versus a bot or two bots. That was probably the best part of the game. The game's also available on PlayStation 1. Duke Nukem 0 Hour. This is a third-person shooter game in the Duke Nukem franchise, and I thought it was a pretty good game overall. Duke has the same attitude. He's kind of funny in a way, but serious in a way, and he's also a bit sexual, too, when he sees hot girls. Like, hey, baby, shake that thing for me. You know what I mean? So it had some buttocks references and things like that in the game, which is inappropriate, but definitely is a reason why it earns its M rating, you know. But still pretty cool. You know, the graphics don't really hold up now. Look at it, you can definitely tell the difference in the graphics, but that doesn't necessarily make or break the game. The game's still pretty good. Forsaken 64, this is also a first-person shooter game. And I think of it as a hovercraft game. You're in like a hovercraft, and you're going through the levels, and you see like a first-person perspective and a hovercraft moving around and shooting these characters and stuff. I learned a little bit about the backstory over time, like some sort of civilization thing going on where most people had died, most humans died, or there were some left, but it was like a war thing going on. They had to fight and stuff. I think that's what it's about. I'll leave more about the Forsaken stuff in the comments section below, because I know a little bit about it, the backstory. The game is also available on PlayStation and Sega Dreamcast. It's a very good game. The Dreamcast version had the best graphics, by the way. Alright, we are almost there. We're almost done. Let me take a quick swig and we'll continue on. We got Battle Tanks. Good game. It's basically, you're in like a little army tank. You go around killing bad guys and doing mission objectives and blowing up other tanks and stuff. Not bad. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. I think I talked about this before. I got 2 copies in here, but this is a good game. I enjoyed it. It's got like multiple genres into one. It's got third-person shooting aspects in it, lightsaber moments, and some parts of the game in the beginning where you were trying to rope down those big giant machines, those gray giant machines with the eyes. I forget what they call them, with your ship, and you had to go around in a circle and blow them up. You were blowing them up that way. Gold Nugget, never played it. I don't know much about playing casino stuff. The only thing I know how to play is blackjack, so, you know, I never played that one. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, obviously a great game. It's one of the best games on the N64. It's definitely a reason to own the N64. It's debatable on if it's a role-playing game or not. I look at it as a role-playing game, but action-oriented. So it's an action RPG, not really just a straight-up turn-based RPG. But some people look at it as more as an action-adventure title. But I don't see how it is because of the menu system and stuff. You get to upgrade your weapons and potions and stuff that you use to heal yourself or to fight off enemies. So it does have a little bit of, RPG elements in the game. I definitely recommend it. It's a great one to own. It's definitely one you want to cop getting when you buy an N64. It's one of the best games on the system. Vigilante 8, think of Twisted Metal, but with it not being Twisted Metal, if that makes sense. And it's actually a pretty good game. I like it overall. It's very fun. Like car shooting game. You know, it's not really a racing game. It's more of a car combat game, but it's really fun. I like it. I think it's also available on PlayStation, but it missed the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast got the second game, but missed the first game. I don't know why that is, but it did. Star Wars Rogue Squadron, very good game. Never beat it, but I got far. But it was pretty good from what I played. I don't really like flying games, but this one was actually pretty good. I think it's because I'm a Star Wars fan that I could actually get into that one. And the sequels that were on the GameCube, also really good. Going back to Rogue Squadron 2, the graphics still look pretty damn amazing. Honestly, they do. Star Wars episode, or Star Wars Shadows of the Republic. Or Shadows of the Republic, sorry. Empire, I mean. Like I said, I have 2 copies of that. Banjo-Kazooie, still have to play this game. I haven't had a chance to play it, but from what I've heard, Jack of Gold keep talking about, it's a really great platformer game where you play as Banjo-Kazooie, and you got that bird that helps you out. I think his name is Banjo, and the bird's name is Kazooie, so they just put the 2 together, you know. Kazooie is basically his friend or something. I've also heard the music in that game is very memorable for those that have played the game. Mario Party, the label's a little bit worn, but I cleaned it up as best as I could. I got this on off a seller on eBay with a bunch of Atari games, PlayStation 2 games, 1 or 2 PlayStation 1 games. Actually, no, I think there were 7 or 8 PlayStation 1 games. Most of them were complete except for 1 or 2 games. And I think there were 2 N64 games in there. One wasn't worth shit. It was Madden NFL 2002, and then there was this one. I traded the heck out of that game, the Madden game, but this one I kept. It's a really good game. I recommend it. Very fun. A great Mario Party game. You're thrown into mini games in this game. As you, Mario, well, you are Mario. You could choose Mario. Luigi, you know, Waluigi, I think Wario, Donkey Kong, a bunch of other characters are in this game. You know, it's really fun. And you put in the mini games and party stuff, which is why it's called Mario Party. It's a really fun game. There's like 30 or 40 different mini games in this game. It's really fun. And that's what started the Mario Party craze, because now we got like, what, 15 of them? Or 16 of them now? Maybe 17. Who knows? I've lost count. Mario Kart 64, another great game on the N64. I think this is one of the best games you could get on the N64. And the best racing game of all time on the N64. I mean, this is really great. This is a game that, even though it's old, you still take it to friends' houses that still have an N64, and you still play the multiplayer for the battle mode. Really great game. A lot of fun. Hours of fun playing the battle mode in this, or the racing mode, which you kind of do play a little bit of in the game, but you don't play it as much as you would the battle mode. And the original mode in the game, the campaign mode, is still excellent as well. There's still some memorable tracks in the game as well. Super Mario 64, great game, great platformer game. This was the first official 3D game. There were other games in the past that were imitating this, and we were saying that was 3D, but they were not. This was the first time it was actually a 3D game, and it's a really great game with long, lengthy campaign in the game, and it was really fun. You had to basically rescue Princess Peach from Bowser, who kidnapped her, basically. And you go throughout the levels. It's kind of like done in like a picture hub world, that some of those pictures you'd have to jump into, and then once you got into it, you were in that world, and you had to get through that world, and eventually you had to fight Bowser, and you had to fight him 3 times before you finally defeated him. First 2 times wasn't too hard, but the 3rd time was kind of hard. You know, but it's a great game. Going back to it now, man, I don't know how I beat this game back in the day, because it's pretty challenging, I will say. But back in the day, I beat it, and, you know, and I didn't own it back then. I borrowed it from my brothers and sisters, you know. But it's nice to have it. I did not get this game for cheap. It was about $50 when I bought it from Mr. Dealers, but it's worth the buy. It's a great game. It's one of the best games on the system, if not the best game on the system. Iron Man Sergeant Heroes 2. This is also a great game on the Nintendo 64. I definitely recommend you picking up both of the Sergeant Heroes games. They're both good third-person shooter games. The graphics definitely look a little bit better than the first game. Did not get past that toy level, though. That the level where it's like the toys set up on and stuff, and like going through that level. I kept dying at that part. It was really difficult. But when I did play this game, I enjoyed from what I played, but I like the first one a little bit better. But this is still a pretty good game for what it is. Alright. Kirby 64, great game. Definitely worth checking out. I still need to play more of this. I played a lot of this at McDonald's back in the day, because they had this Excitebike 64 was also there. They had like 3 N64s there. This was back in the early 2000s when they still had that. You know, when you would go to the play place after eating your burgers or make chicken sandwiches and your French fries and soda pop. And you go there and your parents would give you 10 to 15 minutes to play the games or go through that little jungle gym thing that they had. I remember playing this and I remember enjoying what I played of it. But I was really young, you know, so I didn't have money to buy games and stuff. So I picked this off at eBay. I bought it for $37 total, and it was $37 with the shipping. $32, but it was like $5 or $6 shipping. So 37 to 38 bucks is definitely worth that, especially when it's going for more than that. It's about a $60 game right now for Kirby 64, the Crystal Shard. But it's a really good game. You can also get this game on the Wii as well. They have a compilation disc that has this game on there. It's a great platformer game. It's definitely fun. Definitely a colorful game. Kirby sucks things up like a vacuum and he spits it back out at his enemies. He also collects that star and spits that out and hits enemies with it. And the platforming in the game is also very fun. And yeah, definitely a great game. Quake 2, great first-person shooter game on the system, and this also utilizes the expansion pack, I think. N64, Glenn Plant, that YouTuber, he's talked about this game. It's a really good first-person shooter game on the Nintendo 64. They really put effort into this game to make it work, and it's actually a really good game. And there is multiplayer in that game as well. And you can have up to 4 players on one screen, which is nice, because there's not that many first-person shooter games on N64 to do that. Some of them implemented only 2 players, except for that, GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Wave Race 64. Picked this up a couple of years ago at Empire Video Games. Great racing game. I actually forgot to show that one in the racing stuff, so sorry about that. I have 3 fighting games here. I have Mace: The Dark Age. The controls could have been a little bit better. The fighting mechanics do suck a little bit, but overall it's still not a bad fighting game, but definitely very challenging and pretty violent too. I mean, when you die, your head is placed on a stick, literally. So that definitely earns its M rating. Then I have Biofreaks, basically robots shooting at each other and fighting each other as well. It's pretty interesting. I forget what there's a name for it, Biofreaks. I don't remember how you say it, but definitely look that up. But it's a decent game. It's also available on the PlayStation 1. And the last game, I believe it's the last game I have right now, it's Fighter's Destiny, and that's a very good fighting game, but it doesn't have a lot of challenge to it, and it can be easily beaten in 4 hours, honestly. The only character in the game that's very hard to beat is the Joker. All the other characters, I just whooped their asses and got right through the game. But it's definitely a decent fighting game for sure. Definitely worth checking out. It's not expensive. It's about 15 or less. Let me take a quick drink and then we'll show you the manuals and then we'll end this video. Alright. I don't have the games for some of these manuals. I got these manuals recently because I needed some manuals. I wanted to be able to, if I get stuck in a game, look at the manuals and see how can I progress or what buttons do I need to press. Got Scooby-Doo, Classic Creep Capers, Super Mario 64, got the manual for that, definitely a good one to have. Twisted Edge, snowboarding. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Wayne Gretzky Hockey 98. NFL Quarterback Club 2000. Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing. NBA Courtside. Madden NFL 64. I have no desire whatsoever to get any of those sports games right there. I just have them because they were in a lot. All-Star Baseball 99. I had to check it because there was also All-Star Baseball 2000 on the N64, and I think there's also 2001 as well, but this one's the 99 manual. 007 GoldenEye, definitely nice to have this one. Nice manual to have. WCW versus NWO Revenge. One of the main reasons why I got manuals because I don't know how to pin in these wrestling games. I know how to do the moves, but I don't know how to pin, so I needed those. And I'm going to be getting the manuals for WWF Attitude and some of those other wrestling games that I showed. I need the manuals. WWF Warzone. Donkey Kong 64. Hey You Pikachu. Pokemon game. Star Fox 64. Nice to have that manual. This is a really great game. I used to have that game. I beat that game. Vigilante 8. Army Men Sarge's Heroes, the first one. Got the manual for that. WCW versus NWO Revenge. I got a duplicate of that. And I have NBA Jam 99. I have the manual for that. And I also do have this thing right here, which is a operation card for Diddy Kong Racing. Did I say that right? Diddy Kong? I meant to say Diddy Kong Racing. Right here. There's the back. And there's two posters here, which I'll show you guys, because they came with the stack of manuals. I bought two separate manual lots. So I had the All-Star Baseball there, and on the back it has NHL Breakaway 99 on there. And then I also do have this one as well. Has WCW Nitro on there, which that's a pretty crappy wrestling game. And then the great wrestling game, WCW versus NWO Revenge, which was a way better WCW game, you know. So whichever one you wanted to hang up, whether this side or this side, I probably would have hang up on this side because it's a better game than this piece of crap, you know. But that's just my personal opinion. So that's basically all I have to show. I hope you guys enjoyed watching my N64 collection. You guys have a wonderful night and take care. Peace. God bless you. What's going on, you guys? I hope y'all are doing well today. I am Larry the Batman fan. So I wanted to finish this video off. I did have a few titles I had to show for the video here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I got. I did get a few more titles, as I said earlier on in this video. So I was just waiting for them to come in the mail, and they finally did come in the mail. Lately I haven't been able to play my Nintendo 64 because I hooked it up to this new my newer TV, and for some reason I can't get a signal on it. I've tried it on the old TV too, which it was working on that before, and now all of a sudden it's not. So I don't know when I'm going to get to play these, but I have played them before, and I do consider these ones worth owning for Nintendo 64. So I got one more title I gotta get. Pull it out of the system here. I'll start with this one because it's the best one. I picked up a copy of Resident Evil 2 off of Nintendo 64. It was also available on the original PlayStation. It's been ported to several other consoles as well, such as the GameCube, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. But this and the PlayStation version were the original versions of the game. This is actually not a cheap game. It's around a $50 to $60 game, $65, something like that. I paid $50 for it. In this condition, it does have that sticker on it, which I hate, because games should not have these big stickers on them. They're a pain in the butt to get off. But I mean, the label is in really good shape. I saw Resident Evil 2 that was a little bit cheaper in the $40 range, which was more my price range. Problem was the label was all messed up. It was cosmetically flawed. And as a collector, I really don't want that. I want something to look good, and this looked good. I can say that this is one of the only survival horror games on the Nintendo 64, other than Nightmare Creatures, and Shadow Man does have some spookiness to it. Um, there are some parts that you could get scared playing Shadow Man, but some people don't consider Shadow Man a survival horror game. It's more of a action adventure type of game. But I could definitely see that counting as a horror game as well. And Nightmare Creatures most definitely is a survival horror game. But this is a survival horror game. You play as Leon. You also meet a girl named Claire Redfield. And there's this zombie outbreak going on. The zombies are feeding off human flesh, killing everything that is still human. And there are certain humans that are hiding in trucks and locking the doors, because they're scared out of their mind of the zombies that's going on. Some of them are inside buildings, but they're fucking stupid because they forget to lock the door. Much idiot. Like, there was this one part of the game where Leon goes to the door, is talking to this store clerk. He's like, hey, got a shotgun in his face. He's like, hey man, put the gun down, relax. I'm human. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were a zombie or a monster. He's like, no, I'm still human, man. But the stupid part is that store clerk gets eaten alive by like 3 zombies because he didn't lock the door. Stupid. If it had been me, I would have locked the door and probably put a dresser in front of the door to keep him out. He didn't do that. Later on in the game, you get on a train. You pick up keys. You pick up herbs to heal yourself if you get bitten, because you can only take a few hits before you die, like 3 or 4 hits. And there's also some ammo that you find along the way as well to help you out when your gun gets low, because you're going to need it. With certain zombies being so relentless, you gotta keep shooting them in the head. It's the only way to take them out. There's that giant zombie that crawls up the walls and stuff and jumps down. Those zombies were a bit harder to kill. And those dogs in the game, those dogs were just ridiculous. They were crazy, vicious, and scary too. Overall, it's a great game. I definitely recommend it if you have an N64. I could talk about this game for like 10 minutes straight, but it's a really good game. And I definitely recommend it if you have an N64 or any of the other consoles. Just getting this out of the way, I do have Destruction Derby somewhere, but I cannot find it. I don't know where it is right now. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show this in this part of the video. But I just wanted to mention that for the sake of the video here, that I do own Destruction Derby 64, and I do think that that is a fun racing game where you go around blowing up other cars and smashing into stuff. It's really good. Next game I got this in a lot with some other games recently. This will be shown in the pickups video as well, since it did come in a lot of games, and I want to show it in the pickups video as well. Just see this in this video as well, since it's the N64 video. But Shadow Man, light horror elements to it, action adventure. I have heard it does have some things against my religion though, such as voodooism and things like that. So I don't know if I'm gonna play this game. It's not. It goes kind of against my Christian faith with the voodooism and witchcraft. I might have witchcraft in it, but from what I heard, it's based off a comic book. I saw this YouTuber I discovered recently. I was watching him for a while, called N64 Glenn Plant. He does videos just like Sega Lord X, but his favorite console is the Nintendo 64. And he talked about this game. He said it's really good. It's a very lengthy game that was surprisingly able to be put on a cartridge, which they didn't think that Nintendo could do because it was on PlayStation and Sega Dreamcast, and it was just, that makes sense because it was a disc space, but they didn't think to put the full game on an N64, but they did, and surprisingly, from what I heard, it's good. So yeah, interesting, and it's one of the like 30 or 40 mature rated titles on the N64 other than Resident Evil 2 and the Duke Nukem series and the Quake games and Turok games. This is another one. And a couple of fighting games. And Perfect Dark being an M-rated game as well. But yeah, I've heard good things about it, just haven't played it yet. I don't know if I will play it. Alright, we got Hybrid Heaven. I got this recently off of eBay for $20. I can't believe it's $20. This game used to be cheaper than that. It used to be like $5 at one point in time. But I got it back in my collection. It's a RPG game, surprisingly. There's only a few RPG games on the system. Besides this one, there's Super Paper Mario, or Paper Mario 64 as they call it, Ogre Battle. The Zelda games are considered RPGs. Some don't consider it RPG. Some consider it more adventure. Gauntlet Legends and Quest 64. And Aiden Chronicles. That's another one that's an RPG. But there isn't much else out there for RPGs on the N64 except for this. But what's interesting is there is some like exploring in the game and trying to unlock doors and shit. And it's really good. I do recommend it. There's also a mechanic system where when you fight a person, it's kind of like a battle, like a wrestling match in a way, which is bizarre for a RPG game because most RPG games, it's like you attack that person and they attack you. If it's like that, like a turn-based, or if it's an action RPG, you just whack them with the sword, So that was interesting that they made this, like when you fight the guy, you attack him or you use some sort of potion or something, but you kind of wrestle with them a bit until you defeat the opponent. It's interesting, that concept there. The gameplay was good. The levels are pretty drawn out, and the mission objectives in the game is, for the most part, pretty fun to do. Overall, it's a pretty good RPG, and I do recommend it if you have an N64. I'd say it's more action RPG, though, than a turn-based. It's not really a turn-based RPG, because it doesn't have that attack system like that. It's different. You have to see what I mean. Look up some gameplay on it on YouTube here to see what I'm talking about. You'll know what I mean. But not bad. Not a bad game at all. I don't think I showed this one before, but I'm sorry if I did show it before. But I have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. It's a really good Nintendo 64 skateboarding game. Tony Hawk, when I was really little, I got to experience Tony Hawk on N64, like back in 2001 or 2002, somewhere around that time. I really wanted this game, and my mom got it for me at a Toys R Us one year for Christmas when I was with her, but I didn't see what that game was, But she knew I wanted this game, and she surprised me that Christmas with it, and I was really glad that I got it because I played the hell out of this game. Unlocked every single level of the game, but I never beat it because it was so hard. Like, there were still some certain things in the game that was ridiculously hard, like finding the secret tape in certain areas where you had to grind up a big pole and then jump off of it and land on a platform and then skate down that platform onto another platform just to get the secret tape. Added to the challenge of the game. Collecting the skate letters in each level. There was this one level where you had to do like a nose grind, I think, over a bum, who was sleeping on the ground on a little blanket or something. The first level, the Hagger in this game, you had to nose grind over the rail, knock over 5 barrels in the game. There was a lot of stuff that you had to do. Pro score, 6 score, and high score were in the game. And once you started getting this stuff done in the objective mode, you would unlock stats and you could buy new skateboards, and upgrade your skateboard to make it faster, make it better. This was a great sports game, extreme sports game. Tony Hawk was really fun. The multiplayer in this game is still good to this day. It is outdated as hell now, but it is still so much fun to play with Joseph or one of my other friends, you know, gotta get this game. If you have an N64, a PlayStation 1, or a Sega Dreamcast, if you only have one, just get it. It's good. You know, they're also making a remaster, or they did make a remaster of this game on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I think it's also on PS5 as well. You could get that version if you want the updated graphics. Personally, I like to have just the original because I own the original. I don't want the remake. But anyways, yeah, it's a great game. Oh yeah, also for the multiplayer, there's Horse, Graffiti, Trick Attack, and Free Skate. With my friends in the past, we didn't play too much Free Skate. We played Trick Attack, we played Graffiti, and we played Horse the most. That was what we enjoyed the most. Free Skate, it was okay for a little bit and it got boring. You know, just skating around doing tricks and stuff. You know, you really want to play the multiplayer for the Graffiti, the Trick Attack, or the Horse. You know, that's what you really want to play it for. Anyways, great game. Definitely recommend it if you have an N64. Oh, sorry, I had a crick in my neck. Alright. Next up, I have Mario Party 2. Really great game on the N64. It's one of the best games to own on the N64, honestly. Besides Kirby 64, GoldenEye, you know, The Legend of Zelda, The Majora's Mask, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Mario Kart 64, Mario Party 3, The World Is Not Enough, GoldenEye, and Perfect Dark, you know, and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and Super Mario 64 being some of the best games on the system, and Super Smash Bros. This goes up there as well. It's one of the best games on the N64, period. Great game, really fun party type of game. Going back to it now, it's just as good. It holds up just as well. It's very fun, but it's not as fun by yourself. It's better to have 4 people to play with, but honestly, right now, I don't have 4 friends that could come by and play this game with me. Right now, it's just me, personally. So I could play this game, do like a gameplay video of this, but it's just not as fun by yourself playing against a computer as it would be, excuse me, playing against your friends, you know, like Joseph and Kyle being some of my friends. Maybe I could get my main man Richie to play this game with me. We'd have a blast playing this for sure. I think he would enjoy this game. He's a new friend of mine. But yeah, this is a good game. I definitely recommend it. If you have an N64, it's definitely worth checking out. It is not cheap though. It's about a $30 to $40 game. The third one is the most money though. The third one's like $60 to $80 for some reason. I don't know why that is. The first one and the second one are a little bit cheaper than that. They're around the $20 to $40 range, around that price range, or $30 to $40 range. Alright, we've got a few more games. Gex 64, Enter the Gecko. This was a mascot back in the day on the Panasonic 3DO. And surprisingly, that game was actually good on the 3DO. The 3DO, I used to own the Panasonic 3DO, and I gotta tell you, most of the games on the Panasonic 3DO that I played, they sucked. They were not very good at all. But the Gex game on 3DO was pretty good. But later on, it was ported to the PlayStation 1, so you don't really need to get that version of the 3DO, or on the 3DO, and that version is a lot more money. But they made a sequel, and they made a third one, and then after that, we never saw Gex again, unfortunately. The third game is on PlayStation as well, and it's also on N64. I own it on PlayStation though. There's slight differences in this version too. I think it's also available on PlayStation, but overall, for the most part, it's the same game. It's a platformer game where you play as Gex in the game, go through the levels, and you whack stuff with your tail, and you collect these TV remotes, so that way when you get to the TV, you jump on it, and then you go through that TV into like a portal, and you end up in a level in the game. Overall, it's not a bad game. It does have some frustrating moments in the game where you hit the enemy, and the enemy somehow made you flash like this, and you got hurt even though you jumped on the enemy's head, which is weird. That's bad hit detection. But for the most part, the hit detection doesn't suck. It's actually not too bad. But I will say one thing that was a pain in the ass was the damn camera angle. I hated that camera angle. Going back to it now, that camera angle sucks. Like, it just sort of moves in whatever direction it wants, and when you try to make a jump and you try to move the camera, it says, "Meehoo! No, you can't move the camera." So when you jump, you end up falling. It's like, that sucks, man. That's really bad that the camera does that. But other than that, I thought that this was a pretty good game overall. I didn't mind this game. Chopper Attack, never played it. I'm looking forward to playing this eventually. I think it's just a flying game, or plays similar to Desert Strike, I think. I have Lode Runner 3D. Not as good as the NES game. That game was a lot better than this. This was basically a 3D version of Lode Runner, but not as good. The graphics are better than the NES version, obviously, but its core gameplay just sucked, and just wasn't intuitive, not as fun or as good as the original, surprisingly. And I don't think they made one after that, but I could be wrong. Maybe they made one on the DS or something. It's possible that they did, or the Nintendo Wii, but I'm not entirely sure. And then the last game I have is Jeopardy, and I never played this. I like Jeopardy, the TV show. I still watch it to this day with Ken Jennings, because as you see, that's Alexander Trebek on the front. Alex Trebek for short. I know it's Alexander, but anyways. Yeah, so Alexander Trebek on the front there. Rest in peace to him, because I know he died 2 or 3 years ago, you know. Rest in peace to him. But there's been different variations of Jeopardy over the years on video games. There's one on the PS2, one on the n64, one on the Super Nintendo, and there was a couple on the NES as well. I'm not really into playing the game personally, or Wheel of Fortune. I mean, I like to watch the TV show, but playing the game, especially Jeopardy, I'm probably garbage at it, because with Jeopardy, when I watch it, trying to answer the questions, I'm just not that smart when it comes to them. I can only get a few questions here and there on each show, so I'm just not really into this, you know what I mean? I'd rather watch the show. Anyways, that's all I got to show all of you. I hope you guys enjoyed my N64 collection. That is my N64 collection in full. I know that there's a few other titles on the N64 that are worth getting. Those titles is Turok 3, Shadows of Oblivion, Paper Mario 64, that's worth owning for N64 collectors. Also, I know that, what's it called? Mario Party 3 is worth owning. Nightmare Creatures is worth owning. And there's a few others that are not coming to mind. I know Banjo-Tooie is also worth owning. I don't own that. I own the first game, Banjo-Kazooie, but I don't own Banjo-Tooie. And yeah, there's a few others. Star Fox 64, I used to own that. I don't own that currently in my collection. So those are a few that I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there's a few others that are worth owning on the N64. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. God bless you all and take care. Peace.